Welcome to Just You Watch Me Fix It. Today we will be closing in the opening in the mud brick wall left behind from removing the wood box. It has served us well. My dad built it many years ago to make life easier. It saved us carrying firewood through the house. He just loaded the box up from outside and then retrieved wood from the inside. Now we have heat pumps, we don't need it anymore. So here goes. Even before I pull out the wood box, I'm getting everything ready as once the box is out, there will be a hole in our wall, and I want to make sure I have enough time to close it up before nightfall. Now, these mud bricks are awfully heavy. Each one weighs around about 20 kilograms. They were made here on the property off this very hill that the house sits on. So when they cut the hill to create the building site, the clay soil removed was used along with straw to make all the mud bricks. So these bricks are leftovers and bricks salvaged from previous renovations on the house.
Okay, this is the last of the mud bricks that I should need. I've got 4 halves and six full bricks. These are just made with mud off the property. Okay, now I need to pull the box apart and then make up a mix of mud I've got over here, clay soil, might mix a little bit of lime and cement into that, and then start laying mud bricks after I've removed the wooden box.
After quite a bit of wrestling with the old wood box, it finally came out. Now to get this hole closed back up so no creepy crawlies enter in the night. I'm sure our cat Pickle will think I'm making her a deluxe cat door.
Okay, so I'm going to mix up some mud to lay the mud bricks, and it's basically soil off the property. It's got a good clay content which will cause it to bind together. Just for my preference to close up this hole and make it a little bit more workable, I'm going to add in a little bit of lime and even a little bit of cement. You don't need to do that, but make it a good toothpaste consistency, and then I'll start laying the mud bricks that I've got ready prepared down here. Okay, find my shovel, make up some mud. This is just clay soil from that property. Get rid of any rocks that are in it. The reason I want to get rid of the rocks is because I don't want anything to be in the way of laying the mud bricks. Of course, I'll come across them in the mud when I've mixed it. They'll turn up. I'll just pick them out as I go. So what I'm going to do is add a bit of lime and cement. I've got around about 4 small shovelfuls of clay soil. About half a shovelful of cement, lime, a little bit of cement, not much. As I say, you don't need to add any of this really, but I'm just wanting it to be a bit easier to work with and go off a bit quicker. So, preferably the ingredients should be like making a cake, mix them dry. And then add your water. Now if you were repairing a mud brick wall and you were keeping the natural colour of the mud brick, you wouldn't put lime and cement in it because the rest hasn't had that in it, because that would change the colour. Okay. Mud brick has excellent thermal qualities. It's able to store a lot of energy from the sun and radiate it off through the night when it gets cooler. Before we had the heat pumps in, we'd go out in the morning. We hadn't lit a wood fire. We hadn't lit the wood heater. It was cold weather outside, and when we come back in the afternoon, you'd swear we'd had the heater on. That was just because of the mud bricks. Retaining the warmth of the day. Now, one of my projects that will come up in the future will be where I replace the single glaze windows with double glaze, because we lose a lot of heat energy in the winter through our windows. So I want to try and conserve as much heat as possible. That'll be better for us. We won't have to use the heat pumps as much. Okay. It's about ready. You drag your shovel across the back and put some drag marks in it. It's about right consistency. Okay. So these have a smooth side on them. I'm going to lay that to the inside. put a bit of water on here first.
I'm wetting the concrete blocks that I will be laying the mud bricks on top of so they don't suck moisture out of the mud mortar and weaken the bond. Also, wetting the blocks will wet any dust present, allowing the mud to bond to the surface better.
A little bit like laying bricks. This is where I've got to pick up stones. If I had a system where I could filter them out would be good. Just make do with what you've got. Nice thick joint.
It's a good idea to make sure you have all of your materials within easy reach, as you're less likely to strain a muscle and you'll conserve your energy longer.
Wetting these to get a better bond. You can see there's a big gap there. I'll have to just fill that with mud. Obviously they haven't quite got the bricks in the right place before, I think. like a kid, isn't it, playing with mud? When that starts to set, I'll give it a bit of a sponge off. All right. Righto. Put my hammer. With this nail. Turn it down a bit further.
I'm hammering in the 100mm or 4-inch nails into the side of the post so that it sticks out into the mortar joint. This will tie the newly laid mud bricks to the existing wall.
Okay. Bit of water on these. Get better than my hands. Well to start with, but if you don't wear gloves or get your hands in touch with the cement and the clay, you'll end up getting dried out skin, cracking. Right.
I'm laying a much thicker layer of mud than I would if I was laying ordinary bricks, as these mud bricks weigh about 20 kilos each and they compress the mud layer.
That one's in there.
This second course of mud bricks I'm starting with half a brick so that the joints on this course are in the middle of the bricks in the previous course. I believe this pattern of laying bricks is called stretcher bond or running bond.
Bottom of this mud brick, sides, it'll bond better with the mud. A level just to see that I'm going the right way, make sure it's going too far in or out.
Using a level is important to make sure your newly laid bricks are in line with the existing wall and are upright. Even though the mud bricks are uneven, using a level helps you get an overall idea of this. I like to place my level over the newly laid work vertically, horizontally, and then diagonally to make sure everything is in line.
Right.
I'm using the butt end of a heavy hammer so that when I hit the mud brick, it gives it a solid thump without damaging the brick. I'm tapping the brick into its correct position.
It's going to face in. This will be the bottom of it. Damping this edge again so it bonds to the mud. Just into place. I might put a little bit of mud on the casing first. Tap down. Well, we're nearly there. All right, we need to make some more mud. Okay, so I think it's another batch of mud. Making it nice and thick to match the other joints that are already in the wall. Okay. Each of these blocks must weigh around about 15 kilos, 15 to 20 kilos, I reckon. So be careful how you lift them. Okay, we'll put a little bit more mud at the end. So the last course of mud bricks. Okay. Right. Okay, half a brick first. Before we do that, put a bit of mud on the end. Just going to go and check that that's right on the inside. Yeah, that's looking good on the inside, so I've just got to put the last half a brick in and then mud it all up and it'll be finished. That's the face edge, wetter the other. Sometimes the best tool is your hand. Okay, so I'm just going to finish off the inside of the mud brick wall. Make sure this block is just in the right place. Okay. We're just mudding it all up now. Sometimes there's no better tool than your hand. So what I'm going to do now is just sponge off, smooth off the mud bricks, the mortar in between them. I'll do the same on the outside and then we'll be finished. And then the next stage will be to seal it with a sealer primer and then undercoat and top coat. So the idea is just to work the joints, smooth them off just a little bit. I'm not looking for perfection because mud bricks are not perfect. I'm just looking for evenness as such a word.
I'm at the finishing off stage now. Using the last of the mud mortar, I'm filling in the gaps, smoothing off rough areas, as well as blending the newly laid bricks with the old brick wall edges. This is the opportunity to pretty things up a bit before it sets hard.
Have the sponge fairly wet with water. Works best that way. Get those joints looking, make them obvious. And it'll fit with the rest of the brickwork.
Well, it's a good feeling to have finished closing up the hole. It's worth mentioning, as this newly built wall dries, it is likely to develop quite a lot of shrinkage cracking. This is nothing to be concerned about, as the cracks will not affect the integrity of the wall. All it will require then is to fill in the cracks with more mud so that it looks good.
All done.